Week 4 is behind us, and the plot thickens. Lots of intrigue here after week 4. Number of changes to our power rankings. We have a new number 1, a new basement dweller, and some incredible scores that we saw across the board. So let's go back and take a look. We first look at your commish against Pet Detectives. This one wasn't close from the beginning. It just wasn't. We even look at the potentials that the teams had. This is just the first of several scenarios where even 100% best roster wouldn't have won the game. So we see 140, almost 146 from commish wouldn't have even been close. It wouldn't have even been close to Joe. And so somehow when I caught back up and checked the scores, I could hear Joe giggling in my ear. It wasn't sarcastic. It wasn't necessarily taunting, but I could hear him giggling. It's very disappointing for me. I don't understand how the average scores that I have are always higher than any actual score that I've had. Maybe that's why Watson thinks that I was going to be number 1 or would end up number 1. That's not the case anymore, although the slip wasn't too bad. But as we look, Joe had a great 90% and ended up with that 175, which was actually only second best on the week. But Knox commish gives him his first loss of the year, gets to 2-2, and still very much in the hunt early in the season. Our next game, this was one of those ones that looked like it might have been going the other way for a little while there. It looked like Pancho was going to be winless through 4 weeks, but that's not how it came on. Thanks in large part to the Lions' smothering defense, 40-plus points from them, he was able to sneak out that 13-ish point win. If we look at the Pops, both teams did very well. Both were just over 90%. Either could have taken it. Oh, no, he couldn't have. Our second 100% wouldn't have been good enough scenario. It would have been one of the closest games. Not the closest, but one of the closest games that we had. But even at 100%, poor Hoffman would not have made it. So he now drops to 1-3, scraping the bottom of the barrel there, unfortunately. Pancho gets his first win. We'll see if he continues with that or if it was just an outlier, just a good week for him and his team. Our next game, our reigning champ. Well, this one looked like it was going to be bad here for just a little while because, frankly, for a while it looked like Alex Billy was going to continue his run. He was going to continue that powerhouse. He had scores that on top of scores on top of scores, and so here he was just going to roll with it. And unfortunately, as you look through, well, he's got to stop picking Cardinal players, I think is really what it comes down to. I'm sure that's subjective for sure, but as you look through, this wasn't a scenario where the perfect score would have kept him from winning. If you look at the perfect score, well, Aaron was really close to his at 95%, but at just 78.5% for Alex Billy, a lot of points left on the board. And so he, truthfully, could have won that, even with not quite a perfect score. But he stumbles a little bit, drops to 1-3, proving that last year's, the pattern from last year, it is not continuing this year. But our reigning champ goes to 3-1, makes things interesting at the top of the West. Next game, the brothers, still both undefeated. I don't know. I still don't understand that. It's still bothering me where that came from. But regardless, this one also looked like it was going to be more of a blowout than it turned out to be. It ended up being a lot closer at the end of the final score there. We see that Ian got really close, but again, just not quite enough if we look through some of those scores. Unfortunately, Lamar Jackson being hampered a little bit. Derrick Henry with a pedestrian game by anybody's standards, much less his own. It was not enough. And when you get blanked, Even the kicker suffers. So obviously Tennessee scores no points. No one kicking for Tennessee would score any points. But another big game from a defense on Ian's roster. So that was kind of interesting. But you look at the potentials there. This was another one of those scenarios. 100% still wouldn't have made it. 144 would not have been enough. And so that 97% to a perfect roster looks great, except for you lost, and 100% wouldn't have made a difference. So that's not so good. On the flip side, Whiskey Business seems like this could be his year. It's a solid performance again. Hampton's starting to look like, a number one running back. The last 2 weeks have been amazing. 60 points over the last 2 weeks. We'll see if that continues and if he can ride him all the way to a championship. It's a little bit early to throw that out there, but he's looking pretty strong. Our final game as we look, Shangopotamus and Beg Your Parsons. This was our high score of the week, 186. Oh, that was a full-on beatdown, even though Keith scored 144 points. But again, as many points as he left on the bench, just a 78% to a perfect roster, that 183 would not have been enough to take down Don Chris. So 3 scenarios this week where a perfect roster still wouldn't have been enough. Lots and lots of points scored. A ton of points left on some of our benches. In fact, Don Chris had almost 100. Our reigning champ Aaron had over 100. It's a lot of points hanging out there. In fact, when we look at Don Chris's 186 there, powered by Jordan Love, powered by Josh Jacobs, and Puka Nacua, all over 30 points. That was 100 points between those 3 guys. So that would have been really hard to beat. So that's how the game shaped up. Again, a lot of points scored. I don't know if this is our new scenario. If this is an anomaly, if this is just one of those weeks, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. So our standings now have changed just a little bit. We now have a tie atop the West as we look at that. 3-1. Our reigning champ came storming back from, it's only been 4 weeks, so he wasn't storming back from anything, but gets himself right there in the discussion for the number 1 spot there in the West. In fact, I think technically, because of the tiebreak scenarios this early in the season, has the number 1 spot in the West. Although if you look at the playoff percentage, still 10 percentage points less likely to make the playoffs than Kamish. I think that is grossly overvalued, overstated. I don't understand why. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Whiskey Business keeps himself at the top of the East, 2 full games ahead. Quick look at our season stats. No real surprise, 1-2, some of the top scores. Actually, number 1 is only 4th best as you look at it, but within 6 or 7 points of each other. So nearly right there, nearly second, third. So high point value obviously is always good. And we see our reigning champ, first one to break 600, first one to cross that barrier. So yay. But now I called out last week the points against and how obviously that is not a recipe for a long-term success. Hoping people don't score points against you. Well, thanks, Joe. You completely skewed that back the other way, or at least got me back into normal contention. So now when you go and look at this, at 505, still the fewest in the league, but just 106 points over 4 games. So now we're talking like 26 points a game. Literally one game cut that average in half, right? It was almost 50 points last week, and now it's 26. So and that's why I got my first loss, because you can't bank on people not scoring points, especially as we keep adding reasons for people to score points, and we start seeing 170s, 180s. You got to be able to bring that. You got to be able to bring those points. So that's how we sit today. So looking back at our pops, here's our running total. Fantastic for Joe. The only one sitting over 90%. You might start maybe winning some games based on being able to manage his roster fairly well. We'll see. I haven't had to do that yet, but obviously the season is still young. Thankfully, I'm not second or last for this. I've risen up to third from last, so yay, good for me. Now, as we look at our power rankings, look at the change, see how that moved. We have a new number one, so no surprise, Whiskey Business gets himself up into the number one spot, scoring a ton of points, 4-0, so he's undefeated. Obviously, that's well-deserved. And Pancho gets himself out of the basement. We have a new basement dweller. Unfortunately, our last place team from last year looks like he may repeat and have that last place spot again this year. Hopefully that's not the case. It's nice to mix things up a little bit, but you look at a major drop from Keith, dropping from 2 down to number 8. We'll see if he can right the ship there. And both your reigning champ and beg your parsons, Don Chris, are on the move, heading up in the right direction. Couple of games to watch for week 5. Kamish versus your reigning champ for sole possession of first place in the West. Not only by record will that be sole possession, but really it's 2 games because of the tie break that the win will bring. So that's an important one early on in the season. We also get to see if Alex Billy can bring some points, show back up, bring 180 again, and hand Seth his first loss. Will he do it? Well, everybody else in the East is hoping so. And will Pancho be able to capitalize on his success from this past week? Will he get on a roll? Will he be able to bring enough points to keep himself out of that last place discussion? Will he have something to actually fight for in another month? We'll have to see. Enjoy week 5.